Morning, guys. Today we are up in the panhandle of Texas, just south of Amarillo. It snowed in Amarillo last night. It's crazy up here. We went from 85 degrees down in Caprock Canyon the other day. Woke up to sub 40, and then came up this way, and there were some small little snow showers just before we got here. We're in Canyon. But this morning I'm heading out to film the Texas Bison Association is doing a tour of a brand new, I mean, they opened earlier this year, meat processing facility called Panhandle Meat Processing, I believe is their name. But really good group of guys, and we're gonna learn how some of these cuts are made, where they come from. We're going to be studying a beef cow, not a bison. I think there was, they weren't able to get the bison to this event this morning, but should be really exciting and fun to watch. So follow along, and then this afternoon we'll have a few more things. We arrived here last night and just kind of had a little meet and greet out at the Buffalo Stadium there in Canyon, so that was kind of cool. But follow along, and maybe you'll learn something.
The Texas Bison Association has been around now for 25 years, I believe. Mm-hmm. And it's a little different than some of the larger associations. We have a lot of smaller ranchers here who are not quite as meat production focused as trying to develop the land. And now trying to make sure that ranchers can make their ranch sustainable in terms of being profitable. That's where the association has to step up and help educate and navigate the new laws and regulations on what it takes to bring meat to market.
So it's definitely a pain. I've actually, I've worked and I've actually set up a manual to help people get these kind of facilities open. And I'm working with a guy, and we're doing some consulting and helping some other people get these facilities open in Texas, because I'm sure, as all y'all know, we need more processing. Yeah. And unfortunately, like I encountered, there's no one place you can go to and say, hey, I want to be compliant. How do I be compliant? There's no one organization that can tell you how to do that.
This last conference we had, it was something we've never done before, and that was really much producer focused. How a small producer can take their animals and get them to market, and make sure that we stay within all of the rules and regulations of the USDA and the Texas Department of Agriculture, and making sure that it is safe, effective, and we deliver the best product possible.
If you're looking at, a 1,200-pound bison, you're probably going to be looking at a 600 or 700-pound hanging weight would be my guess.
Being able to go to a meat processor and see how an animal is broken down and what the actual process, procedure, and ways to keep it clean, safe, healthy, and make sure that you do it properly was really interesting.
The way we dissect up here, we make a straight cut right across that. But we always make sure to get the tri-tip out of the way and fold it down like this. Because if we just cut it, we cut it right time. It just makes it smaller. We don't want to do that. There's two things that we do that way. We get the tri-tip out of the way, and then the brisket, which is right here. We'll cut it here. Brisket's pectoral muscle.
A lot of these people have never seen a commercial processor, and getting that firsthand view is huge, seeing what can be done, what your options are in terms of packaging, labeling, what the requirements are from the state, the local, and then where you can sell this meat. It was a really good piece of information.
And the plan for this is I'm going to cut some T-bones out of it. Maybe not all of it, probably about half of it. So you're going to have your tenderloin on one side, which is this, and it's covered by leaf lard fat, right? So it's kidney fat that kind of protects it. That's why it's so
that fat right
which
there.
Is this right here, yeah. I kind of took it off, tried to take it off in one piece, something like that.
Do you do anything with that?
Well, this is my beef, and my wife wants the fat off the kidney.
Yeah,
I'm not sure
you
exactly.
can turn that down into tallow, and that is exceptional cooking.
There's a whole bunch of stuff you can do with that. I don't know everything. Very useful.
You just do what she says, okay?
Basically, that's the goal. One whole section of the ribeye section of the beef. The plan for this, I think I'm just gonna leave these big like that and cut them like this and maybe make another cut like that. I'm not real sure.
So if you have a bone-in ribeye, you're not getting your short ribs. That'd be right?
Not separated, no.
Okay.
The bone-in ribeye would be this part that stays connected to the rib.
Right.
And the reason these are kept, I kept these long like this is because I do want to do a couple of tomahawk steaks, right? So the tomahawk is just basically a bone-in ribeye, but you're keeping this part of the bone attached too. Normally we would go ahead and cut across that way they look a little neater. But I'm going to keep probably the two best ones, maybe those two. That way me and my wife can have two tomahawk steaks. So we have two skirt steaks. This one, one's the inside, one's the outside. And these are more like diaphragm muscles. And the skirt steak, we call them, you know, it's fajita meat because it is so tender. You can kind of see like how tender that is. Yeah. And these ride like the inside of the ribs, where you can kind of see where one was right here. They kind of sat like that. One more would be this flap meat. It's still kind of real tender fajita meat. This lays on the belly, actually.
Going in and seeing what it takes to build a plant, what it takes to be in compliance with all of the USDA and Texas state agricultural laws, that's really interesting. Trying to build something from the ground up that makes sure that you can meet the rules and do this properly is really interesting. We have a lot of focus in bringing back small producing processors that can do this because not everything needs to go through a Cargill plant or JBS. But having somebody who can do smaller, more careful cutting, I think is very, very important.
These buffalo burgers?
Yes, they are.
Good.
Crisp toast?
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
It was really, really wonderful that West Texas A&M invited us in, especially sharing the herdsman facility. The herdsmen run Thunder, which is West Texas's mascot, the bison bull that came from friend rancher Joe Graham's place. Beautiful little bull. But they invited us in, and it was wonderful seeing these young people who get to care for this bison and get to interact with him on a daily basis. That's pretty special because not a lot of kids get to do that. And Logan Burleson, who is currently in charge of the herdsmen, is just a phenomenal guy.
Yes.
It was really special being at the conference and the day that he defended his dissertation, and we got to be the first people to call him Dr. Burleson.
There's very few programs that have live mascots nowadays. I traveled to the National Collegiate Live Mascot Conference back in the summer, and it's a pretty small group. There's only about 30 or 40 schools, and most of them have collie dogs and bulldogs and stuff like that. I was the only one there that had something, you know, big and cool. But, you know, with liability and issues, and the past few years, that kind of quailed out. When we got a new stadium in 2018, they kind of put a stop to that.
Insurance premiums on getting gored is pretty high.
I would think, but I don't know. So, anyway, for several years it was just, there was no running of the buffalo. It was just here, we kept it in a pen, or we kept it, things like that. Well, they hired me, and one of my main goals was to bring that buffalo and running it back on the field. So, thankfully, well, I say thankfully, I did it kind of secretively. So this year, it was said, I went to that live mascot conference and talked to those people, and they're like, you know, it'd be really cool if you could run that buffalo. I said, I know, it's really the deal. So I came back here, and I met with the athletic director, and I said, I want to run that buffalo again. We need to bring that back, because everybody knows that it's not really the degree, it's not really about those things at college. What makes college for people is the experiences. And you know, Auburn has the War Eagle, and we see, you know, that eagle flying around that stadium while the national anthem. That's an experience, and I wanted that same experience for our kids here at WT. You know, I wanted something cool, and running a buffalo, how many people get to see that being done? So I told the athletic director, I said, what do I need to do? He said, well, let's do it and just keep it quiet. The first game this season, we didn't tell anybody. I mean, nobody knew that we were planning on running that buffalo. We did some secret of the dead of night practices in the stadium. I had text messages, why is the buffalo not set up outside? Where's he at? I said, no, he'll be there, he'll be there. I didn't tell him how he was.
Bring me the ball, Thunder. Come on. Bring me the ball, buddy. Bring me the ball. Come on, bring me the ball. Bring it here. Bring it here. Good boy. Come on, bring it here. Bring it here. Good boy. Thunder, you're so smart. Good job, buddy. Good boy, you did it. Good boy. Good boy, you did it, Thunder. Yeah, good boy. Good boy.
There is a misunderstanding. You do not have to have your animal processed only at a USDA facility. You can have your animal processed at a state-inspected facility for resale or a USDA inspected. You just have limits on what you can do with that meat.
Chris is a super nice guy, and watching what he has done just in Texas homesteading and helping small producers, whether it's chickens, pigs, goats, turkeys, showing them and helping them navigate the rules and regulations of what it takes to sell from your ranch.
It's not just Chris, it's also his wife and the teamwork that they're having to do and maneuver through the complexity.
Well, the reason is a lot of these rules and regulations are written, but they're so vague that they're left to interpretation by whatever inspector, whether it is a state, regional, county inspector, and how they can interpret the rules.
Regulations are in black and white. It's how you read them and how you interpret them, how they'll go. And a lot of times, the way you interpret them and the way the inspector interprets them, they're not the same way. So we're gonna tell you the correct way to do it, the legal way to do it. We're gonna tell you what worked for us, kind of skirting it. It was a gray area. Austin told us it was a gray area.
So coming up with practical knowledge of somebody who has experience in taking and turning an animal and putting it on, basically getting it to the plate, was phenomenal. And most of the ranchers in this area do not have that expertise.
But here's what happens to reality. You got to get your processing date and a few backup dates. There is a planning process to this. The state average is about a year to 2 years. So if you do the math, you're trying to get a date on a calf that hasn't even hit the ground yet.
So Chris coming in and sharing that knowledge of what he's been doing over the past few years was wonderful. We got a little bit more insight of what it actually takes to get your own label, to get the meat to be able to be sold, whether it's directly from your ranch, in a local grocery store, or sold to restaurants, or shipped in nationally. There's just varying amounts of rules and permits and things that you have to do at each step along the way. Again, we analyze and see where we have deficits, and we try and go and find experts and bring them in and solve these problems together. And that's been watching that for 25 years now, and it's amazing how much we've progressed. And I think we're just going to keep going farther.
So this time we got to visit Sydney's place, and he's far west Texas, right on the New Mexico border, and he has been for a long time very laid back and not doing always what traditional bison producers are doing. He believes in keeping the family unit together and letting them really be all natural, all native on his property. So he was very excited to share all that with us and open up his home and his ranch to us just to view the animals and to drive out on the property and to see them all.
The non-interventionist method it's unique in the bison
industry. It's low key, very low key.
And it's a wonderful way to raise, relying on natural disease prevention versus, giving inoculations or things like that. It's unusual, but it's one way to go. And again, we're still learning in all aspects as to what is best. And Sydney's been doing this long enough and has had stellar results. His animals are absolutely beautiful. It's just another experiment. These are all still experiments. We're here such a short time frame in terms of the relation to these animals and how long they've been on the plains, that we learn more from them than they don't really learn much from us other than where the food and water is. We've never had hospitality like West Texas A&M has. They've rolled out the red carpet for us. And
they gave us a press box, the soup.
Between the press box at the football stadium.
And that came from?
Chief Sean.
Thank you.
Yeah, Sean Burns, who's the chief of police at West Texas A&M, who was also past president of the Herdsman Association. And for the last 25 years, Sean ran the herdsmen and brought them to the other events. But so watching the school come together and open their doors, make available all their facilities to us, and then culminating in a dinner in the lobby of the agriculture building, that's a pretty spectacular place. It was wonderful to see and experience. Watching the meat science lab and the way that the agricultural building works, it has handling equipment and pens at the back, and animals can load in basically the back door. And then from that hallway, there are classrooms all the way down. And as your processing progresses from the live animal to the cooling chambers to the scalding to the aging to cutting to cooking, watching it work down the hallway and every step along the way where they can show and explain and teach and let the students get hands-on experience was fascinating. I have not seen anything like this in my life, and watching a hallway with a rail that you can run a 3,000-pound carcass down is
into a classroom.
Into a classroom where you can teach and show how to cut. It's impressive. And then when, again, from that back door, working it all the way through to having a gourmet butcher shop meat sales retail location inside this beautiful structure, that was pretty special.
It wasn't just the meat processing, it was the cooking and the catering and learning how to do the safety for cooking one part of it, having a special classroom designated for veterinarians to be able to come in and working on that degree to work on the muscles and knowing where different locations were. And I think somebody mentioned forensics too. So the ripple effect that that whole building has is so much more than just, meat cutting. but it was
absolutely.
It was amazing.
Learning and actually being able to study different carcasses and understand what different feed rations do, and being able to analyze and understand how meat is grown from the beginning, and being able to look backwards through the process and then forwards to the plate. It's there's a lot to be learned, and I'm definitely still learning, and was thinking about going in and enrolling. I think that would be really neat. And I think every member of the TBA just enjoyed the heck out of it.
Oh, it was great. We were like telling them how much we appreciated them and what all they did, and they in return, and the herdsmen that are in school were turning around and telling them how much they appreciated every rancher that showed up. So, you know, it was kind of that two-way street of not knowing the appreciation that we hold for each other.
That's why these associations exist. We're all still learning. There's nobody that knows everything, and I don't know that we ever will. As, you know, as our planet keeps evolving, things change, but keeping up with it and keeping contact and keeping just having support. That's really what these associations do, and the reason we do these conferences. Get involved in the associations. Both the National Association and most of the state associations have what they call a friend of the herd level membership. It's a discounted rate, but it gets you access to the information that they have available. The National Bison Association has a wonderful library of books, whether it's Hornaday's book on bison or on Colonel Goodnight. There's quite a bit out there that you can have access to. Just the list of ranches, and get to see where you can go and support one of your local ranches. There are bison ranches in all 50 states. That includes Alaska and Hawaii. So there's no excuse why you as an American can't go out there and support a local bison ranch.